What's up, fellow two-wheelers? This is the last video in the series on how I changed out all of my cables and brake lines to nice braided lines from Magnum. In this video I'm going to show you how to change out your old clutch cable for a brand new shiny one. If you haven't checked out the other videos on how to measure for ordering or how to install the throttle cables or your brake line, you can check those out here. It's a good idea to remove the main fuse before starting this project. You should start by removing any zip ties or brackets holding the clutch cable to the bike. Next, you'll want to slide off the rubber boot to gain access to the clutch adjuster. After you break off the jam nut, you can then turn the adjuster counterclockwise to add length to the clutch cable and give yourself room to work. You can now start removing the cable starting at the hand controls. If you remove the snap ring that secures the pivot pin, you can then remove the clutch cable and lever from the hand controls. Remove the plastic anchor pin and the cable is now free from the lever. There may be other brackets on the bike that secure the clutch cable, and you'll want to be careful so you can reuse these later with the install. You'll now want to drain all the fluid from the transmission. It's easier to break the seal on the clutch cable before removing the release cover. You can now remove the 6 screws that hold the clutch release cover on. You may need to fully or partially remove your exhaust to gain access to these screws. Inside the release cover, you can see how the cable is coupled to a ramp, and the ramp assembly is held together with a retaining ring. Start by removing this retaining ring. Lift the inner ramp out and you can now remove the cable from the coupling. You can now remove the outer ramp and the 3 balls, and you're now ready to remove the release cover from the clutch cable. Since you loosened the fitting earlier, it's easy to just spin the cover off the cable. Before you rip the old cable off, you might want to just take a look underneath and see where the cable's routed. Make sure that you install the new cable in the same path. Carefully remove and dispose of the old gasket. These things are not meant to reuse. Just spend a few bucks and get a new one. I'll be installing a new braided black pearl clutch cable from Magnum Shielding. Of course, the old cable looks ugly next to the new braided lines, but you can also get rid of that ugly rubber boot thanks to the waterproof adjuster that Magnum designed. You can start by routing the new cable under the bike. When you start to reassemble, be sure to replace the O-ring where the cable meets the housing. Also, use thread locker on the cable. You can now attach the new cable to the cover, but hold off on tightening this down for now. You can now replace the outer ramp, paying attention to the tab shown here to make sure that it's aligned properly. Throw a little grease on the balls. Say what? Come on, I'm talking about a little general purpose grease. When you replace the coupling and the inner ramp, make sure that the balls are seated properly before replacing the retaining ring. Look for the 2 posts that will help align the gasket and the cover when reassembling. Tighten the cover screws to around 140 inch-pounds and use a star pattern to ensure that it's seated properly. You can now tighten the clutch cable at the cover. It only requires 100 inch-pounds, so don't over-tighten and strip this out. At this point, you can start reassembling the clutch hand control. The clutch cable should be fully extended so you have plenty of play to work with. I'll do another video on how to do a full clutch adjustment. But you'll need to take up all the free play of the clutch behind your primary before you make the final adjustments of the cable itself. Hold the crimped upper adjuster with a wrench and turn the jam nut with another wrench to loosen the adjuster. Once the adjuster is loosened, you can make your cable adjustment by turning the adjuster screw. Take up the slack at the adjuster until you only have a 1/16 to an 1/8 inch of free play between the end of the cable ferrule and the clutch lever bracket. Once you're satisfied with your adjustment, you simply tighten the jam nut against the upper adjuster. The Magnum kit comes with double loop zip ties. These zip ties keep the cable secured and also keep the adjuster from scratching the frame. That does it for this week. Let me know how your install goes. I want to send a thanks out to Magnum for sending me the beautiful cables for the install video. As usual, I'm Chainsaw from Granite City Riders. Thanks for watching.